First, it was the abrogation of Article 370 in Jammu and Kashmir, and now the Narendra Modi government seems to be set to take another bold step in Jammu and Kashmir. This is the big drawdown plan of the Rashtriya Rifles in Jammu and Kashmir. Rashtriya Rifles to be replaced in various areas of Jammu and Kashmir by the paramilitary forces, mainly the CRPF. We broke the story at news18.com last week. This is Aman Sharma. I'm joined by Ankur Sharma, who covers Home Ministry and Internal Security and Defense very closely for us. This is a story we broke last month, and today we have done another story where we have revealed how the CRPF is in fact gearing up for this task ahead. So first, let us explain to the viewers what is a drawdown plan. What exactly is the present deployment in Jammu and Kashmir, and what is the center planning to do, Ankur, about this?
So, Rashtriya Rifles is basically 100% deputation force of Indian Army. It was raised in 1990 as a counter-insurgency force. After abrogation of Article 370, government noticed now that the normalcy is coming back in Jammu and Kashmir, especially in Srinagar area. Importantly, the number of killings, number of Jawans killed in terror action, terror activities have also gone down. So after that, government is now thinking of removing Rashtriya Rifles, which is basically Indian Army troops, from Jammu and Kashmir, because Army's mandate is to deploy at the border, not at the hinterland. So according to the drawdown plan, it is till 2030, Rashtriya Rifles will get reduced by 50%, and the plan as proposed by the government, that Rashtriya Rifles will be getting reduced in phase-wise manner. The 3 phases will be getting complete in by 2024 December. So this is the overall plan proposed by Rashtriya Rifles, but there are obviously the friction points as well.
There are actually, it's very interesting to understand, because over the years, in fact, for almost two and a half decades, I would say, it is the Rashtriya Rifles which have been at the forefront of counter-insurgency, counter-terror operations in Kashmir and Kashmir Valley, especially. When a drawdown plan like this is discussed, obviously it becomes a contentious point, because is the CRPF equipped enough to take over this task? Because now things may be normal, but now Kashmir is very unpredictable, and if situation flares up again, what happens then? So obviously I think the government has gone very deeply into this to decide this plan, and it will roll out in the next coming few months, as we believe. But Ankur, when it comes to CRPF, because also there's been this criticism, as you said, there's a kind of a friction point, that CRPF is not really a young force. The army does post its young commanders on the field in Jammu and Kashmir. CRPF is not seen as a really young force. So do you think that is also a challenge for the CRPF?
Yes, so that is the biggest challenge, and in fact that has been raised by Rashtriya Rifles also, that Jammu and Kashmir, because of the terrain and everything, it requires young commanders, young ground commanders, young troops to operate in that area. CRPF is comparatively not a very young force. It is a bit old, and if we compare commandant level officers with the Rashtriya Rifles officers, obviously the age is a very big factor, and that has been already raised by Rashtriya Rifles. Importantly, the another point which is forcing the government to think or replan the whole drawdown plan of Rashtriya Rifle is the training part. CRPF is not all the force complete. It's a 3,25,000
Strong force.
Strong force. So it is for the force. It is not very not everybody is trained in that manner. But CRPF, to counter these points, have said that we are ready to deploy CoBRA commandos. CoBRA is basically CRPF's anti-Naxal force, and as we are aware that according to the government, there is a reduction of 76% in total number of LWE affected areas. So it has been decided that CoBRA will be shifting to Jammu and Kashmir, and the reason behind shifting CoBRA is that CoBRA is very young force, and they only take young commanders, young troops, and that will be help CRPF to operate in Jammu and Kashmir.
So the CoBRA force is essentially created in the CRPF. I think in the UPA tenure it was created to take on the Naxals, because it was created on the line of the Greyhounds of Andhra Pradesh, right. A specialized commando force which can, because the local state forces were in a way inequipped to operate, against the Naxals. So a special force was created by the CRPF, and very interestingly, now this force is being backed upon by the CRPF to take on anti-terror operations in Kashmir. I think that is very interesting, how this the CoBRA forces will adjust, from jungle terrain in a way, a mountainous terrain, a jungle terrain, essentially jungle warfare, to a to the terrorism in Kashmir, which is essentially quite
Which is
different.
different,
It
yes.
has evolved in certain manners, and I think also the challenge also remains that whenever big incidents happen in Kashmir, like there have been civilian killings over the last 1 year,
Right.
the army obviously is going to cite that these things show that maybe everything is still not under control.
Right.
So do you think this kind of resistance is also come from the army, that maybe they're moving in too soon?
Yes.
To,
To counter, apart from CoBRA, there is another plan by CRPF that recently we did a story also today, that special DG, who's a DG rank official who handles Jammu and Kashmir zone from Delhi to Jammu and Kashmir, has sent a letter to all formations saying that we need young troops, and each unit will have a company of young Jawans. So basically, CRPF is also not completely relying on CoBRA, but they are also raising the young company. Secondly, the main friction point, as we briefed also, the another point is, which is Rashtriya Rifles has raised, that it is too early because now not everything is under control now, and it is unpredictable. Obviously, it is J&K, Jammu and Kashmir, the most sensitive part of the country, and anytime anything can happen. And in recent past, like killings of IED attacks and killings in January itself, in 1st and 2nd January, there were 2 terror attacks also. So it is obviously unpredictable. Rashtriya Rifles is saying that this is not the right time to shift the Rashtriya Rifles from Jammu and Kashmir. But obviously, government is thinking on some other lines.
Yeah, I think the message also seems that to give a sense that normalcy is back in Kashmir. If you remove the army from the duties which they do presently, even road opening is done by them, counterinsurgency operations are done by them. So if you lessen a bit of the presence of the army, maybe in areas like Srinagar and Gandarbal and Shopia, maybe that message goes that normalcy is returning, and with paramilitary forces working and in these areas again. But does it come at the cost of actually if things go bad, there is no reversal to this again. The reversal would become even more difficult. That do you send Rashtriya Rifles back again? It's obviously a very, very tough call, but this government is obviously known for some tough calls, and 370 was abrogated in a similar manner. So will government go ahead with this tough call? The plan is certainly on the table, and obviously, as Ankur says, the CRPF will have to do also a big rejig, to step up and fill these big boots of the Rashtriya Rifles.
Also, government has not planned to completely remove Rashtriya Rifles from Jammu and Kashmir. Obviously, the 50% strength will be there, and the plan is to reduce the number of deputation of Rashtriya Rifles. Completely, obviously, it is even now and even after 5-10 years, I don't think so. Government is comfortable to remove Rashtriya Rifles from there completely. So obviously, the message is clear, but as you said, that this government is famous for taking the bold steps, especially in security aspects.
And in many such, when it comes to models in dealing with terrorism, the Punjab model is spoken about a lot. And many officers would tell us that it's ultimately the Punjab police which could finish militancy in Punjab. So in a way, you have to really depend on forces, which know the terrain, which are there. And though Rashtriya Rifles has been there for a long time, I think the government's plan to slowly, in a way, pull out a bit of the Rashtriya Rifles, send in CRPF, is a larger sign that peace and normalcy has returned to the valley. We'll keep an eye out very closely on this story. It's obviously a very big story if it happens, and if this redeployment happens. Thank you so much for joining us on CNN News 18.